Welcome to a walkthrough video and discussion of the Sealine 47 motor yacht Raby. This is a 2002 English built vessel that is in very good order. As I go through the boat, I'll comment on some of its features and items relating to its condition. I'll start by saying the boat was polished back last July 2020. It remains in very good order. The hull is generally unmarked and doesn't seem to have any significant scrapes or bumps or obvious repairs. Low down on the corner here there's a small scrape mark that will wipe off. You'll notice that the swim platform on this model is actually integrated into the hull, so the overall length includes the swim platform. On the back of the vessel here there's a stainless steel cradle which supports the 2.6 metre fiberglass bottom rigid inflatable. This is launched by a passerelle crane, which is both a slewing hydraulic crane and a walkway to gain access to shore from the rear of the boat, commonly used in Europe. It has a fold-up section at the top that has a rail to add in safety when you're using it as a gangway. The teak on the rear section of the boat has weathered. The caulking compound is getting thin in a few places. There's a hot water shower at the rear of the vessel, plus some rod holders. These rear covers are 90% breezeway shade cloth. I'll show you a bit more of this from the inside later, but these are relatively new and were changed when all of the clears upstairs, the bimini and the rear Euro awning was modified and extended last year. Walking forward, the hull is in very good order. As I said earlier, it's been polished, there's no obvious marks, dents, dings or repairs, and it presents really well. The teak on the forward part of the deck is probably in poorer condition than that aft. The sealant is now raised and you can see that the teak has weathered. This is more evident on the joins. There's a stainless steel premium plough style anchor which mounts through a fancy roller assembly up to a vertical electric capstan on the deck. This is a very good system. The foredeck is very tidy. You can see shade cloth coverings over the screen. There's a steerable spotlight and horns above it, and new covers, clears and bimini on the Flybridge. Boarding the vessel from the rear, you can see that there's a deck hatch which covers a telescopic stainless steel ladder, and there is one entry door on the port side of the transom. Standing in the doorway to my left there's a teak topped cabinet, contains a sink and an outside electric barbecue unit. The stairs to the Flybridge, stairs not a ladder, teak floor and covered seat upholstery. This is in a canvas style fabric with canvas style covers over the top. The seats themselves have got a few marks on them, but are generally in good condition. The teak flooring being undercover is much better condition than the exterior timber. There's a small stain in the centre which will be able to be sanded out. It actually comes from a drip in the overhead lockers, which are a unique feature of this model boat. You can actually see there's a small drip coming from this light fitting here. The ceiling lockers contain things like life jackets. On the bottom step there's a small piece of teak missing. This was broken off by a contractor. The actual piece of teak is on board the boat and capable of being put back on. Teak condition on the stairs and the cockpit is good. The breezeway covers close off the side deck and then wrap around, providing shade cover over the entire side and rear sections of the boat. They are in near new condition, having only been replaced last year. Originally the rear covers finished at the end of the fiberglass roof, but the owner extended the Euro style awning back another 700 odd mil so that the rear shade area was pushed further away from the cockpit to give more room and more comfort in the seating position. It's a very good idea. Underneath the main cockpit area is one large utility hatch. I'll open that and show you what's inside. This is the cockpit with that hatch open. There's a table stored underneath the hatch for use in the cockpit or on the Flybridge. Inside is the Kohler generation unit in an acoustic box. The insulated panels to the bottom left and top right are part of the tank system, and the doorway is primary access through into the engine room. Looking aft from that utility room to the rear lounge is a unique feature of Sealines and some other English boats like Princess. This is that bench with the cover peeled off. You can see that the canvas style cover is in good order, but there are a few little stain marks like this in places. If we remove this, underneath is a utility hatch which accesses the rear crew quarters. So this is going down into the last 1.5 metres of the boat via a stairway into a crew quarter room. I'm now sitting on the stairs as that lead downstairs. You can plainly see that there's a toilet. There's a washer dryer system that's built in. There are some unique little cupboards which contain things like a sink and washing up facilities if you were to use this as a crew quarter. The current owners are not in fact using it as crew quarters. On the far side, as I turn around, you can see a 12-volt freezer unit, a barbecue, which is a Weber, and a bunch of spare parts and things. Owners have been using it for a location for their freezer, which is a 90 litre kick-ass 12-volt. Alternatively, you can put a single bunk in there. Very aft there's a panel which I've just tapped with my hand. This is removable and gives access to the steering gear, autopilot controls and rudder heads. The doorway to the right or forward of this room accesses the utility room that we saw previously. Despite being crew quarters, it's all well lined, neat and tidy and in good condition. With that rear panel open, you can see the steering gear, rudder heads and link bar. There's a small mirror and a drawer underneath which contains a vanity unit for the crew using these quarters. Back into the cockpit, the port side unit I mentioned earlier has a sink and an electric Siemens 240 volt barbecue. In the cupboard underneath is an Engel 12 volt fridge. There's a bit of mould showing in the edge of the sink unit, and there's taps missing from the top of the hot and cold water taps. Heading inside through the curved and tasteful doors, the interior of the boat presents really well. It's certainly in above average condition. On the starboard side there's a full leather lounge that has a convertible sofa bed built in inside it. A table which is on a base that's not attached to the floor and can be doubled in size and moved around as is required. It'll actually fit out through the door to shift into the cockpit if you wish. Port side of the boat is a bar, a loose chair, and back slightly behind me is an entertainment unit. Inside that is another 12-volt fridge. This is a slightly bigger angle, around 65 litres. The one outside's about 50. In the doorway, another unusual feature is a fuel control panel where you can either link or isolate fuel tanks and control where the return fuel from the engine goes. This gives you the ability to shift fuel around the boat should you wish. There are blinds in the lower level. Above the interior helm station, the grey panels are a heat-proof self-adhesive panel which gets stuck on the window with suction panels. It's a bit like a space blanket material to keep the heat out of the boat. It works particularly well. And then down one step, the galley is on what you might call a half level between the saloon and the two lower staterooms. Here's another view of that bar from the opposite side of the boat, looking back to the entertainment unit which is to port of the doorway. Engines are underneath this floor. Access is through the doorway in the utility room. There's also a number of hatches for day inspection. There's some more down in the galley which access storage and the front of the engine room and electrical compartments. But the whole of the saloon floor can also be removed as required for maintenance. Looking up, the owner had all of the padded ceiling panels replaced approximately 18 months ago. So the interior of the boat presents as new. It's mostly unmarked and it's in excellent condition. I think the lower steering station on this boat is excellent. To start with, it keeps you in contact with people travelling with you. It's a two-seater arrangement, so you and your companion can share the facility. It's very comfortable and has good visibility once all of the heat screens have been taken off. It's very well equipped with nice panelling, comprehensive instrumentation. The two grey boxes on the left are the Volvo EDC controllers. There's an anchor controller now in the centre of the screen with chain counter, a bow thruster which is the knob to the left of the steering wheel, and on the right the electronic engine controls and control unit for the steerable spotlight. There's a single display screen which is an Raymarine Axiom system for GPS, sounder, charting and the Quantum 24-mile Doppler radar. You might just see in the far corner a little black box. That's for the engine fire retardation system, which is a C-fire unit. And from up here, looking back down to the saloon. Sitting on the bench here, there's a remote controller. The galley is compact but extremely functional. It's got Korean style bench tops. The aft end, there's a microwave. The forward end, the owners have made a few adjustments to what was here originally. Initially, where this panel here is, there was a 2-burner electric cooktop, but it actually interfered with the size of the fridge that could be used underneath it, so it only had a 50-odd litre fridge. They've removed this cooktop, put in a NovaCool 110 litre fridge and freezer, and then upgraded the inverter, batteries and electrical to support a 2-burner induction cooktop, which now sits on the bench and is plugged into a power point around the corner. Timber work in here is in very good order. It's largely unmarked. The only mark in the whole boat is in this area in front of the fridge where somebody's dropped something on the floor. Below the interior helm and opposite the galley is this comprehensive electrical panel. This is the view from the forward cabin looking back aft along the walkway through to the galley, which is on the port side of the vessel. Timber work on these English boats is certainly superior, I think, to the American and Australian built boats. A lot more solid timber is used and the finish generally a lot more robust. Partly under the lower helm and on the starboard side of the boat, adjacent the galley, is the second cabin. This is an island queen bed. Stylishly appointed, very comfortable. This room is full of mirrors, so you'll have to excuse my legs and things sticking out in various places. As you can see, nicely presented, nicely equipped. From the head of the bed, on the centre line of the boat, looking forward to its ensuite bathroom. Being a two-cabin boat, the bathrooms are generous, as are the cabins themselves. So this has nice bench tops, quality fit out, premium toilet system, and a quality shower unit which is encased in a curved acrylic screen. From that cabin, to give you some perspective, we look around forward to the master cabin, which is also a queen bed, rounded ends, storage under, and then lots of storage space within the cabin itself. This is a very nice cabin, very high standard of finish. The first door you see is a hanging locker. The right hand of the two bigger doors is access to the ensuite, and the left hand door is the door to provide privacy from the rest of the boat. In the ensuite, again, a hand basin, premium toilet, and a separate shower stall with a full acrylic door. Premium equipment and very nicely appointed. Back to the doorway of the second cabin. You can access the main cabin through its doorway, or there is a second door into the bathroom to make it accessible for other users of the boat. Back near the doorway, the entertainment unit has a TV and a Fusion premium sound system with multi-player, multi-digital inputs and speakers inside and out. Above the printer and scanner you can see a modem. This provides a 4G Wi-Fi network to the boat, and some of the Bose lifestyle speakers which are scattered throughout the boat. Back in the cockpit and heading up the stairs to the Flybridge. Certainly a lot easier than you're trying to use a ladder and holding a camera in one hand. Flybridge is an open plan, double helm seat to a low dash. There's an entertainment system on the far side. All the covers and clears are new. Sunbed with fold-up seats to make a lounge in front of it. This is about queen size. This helm seat is on stainless rails. You can release the catch on the bottom and rotate it at 90 degrees to give more room up here should you require it. Teak's in good nick, upholstery's in good nick, covers and clears are effectively new. And through the rear clear you can see the radome for the Quantum Doppler version 2 digital radar, TV antenna on the right, and it's got high intensity LED floods over the back of the boat as well. Inside the upstairs cupboard is yet another Engel 12 volt fridge. This one looks like 45 litres. And then the dash for the vessel, which is basically a repeat of downstairs. Apart from the engine gauges, there's electronic engine controls, which are Volvo, steerable spotlight controllers, anchor winch and chain counter, another Raymarine Axiom unit repeating everything from downstairs. The white boxes are the Volvo Penta EDC engine control units. The knob is the bow thruster controller. And now that I've taken the cover off, the grey box is the Raby Smart Pilot. This is what the upper helm looks like generally. Zooming in closer, you may be able to pick up some of the acrylic coating on the dash panel is coming off here and around this panel here. That's common for this style of panel. You can buy the panels as replacement parts from Sealine. This is the view standing looking over the bow. The foredeck on this boat's really easy to get around on because the whole of the foredeck and side decks is all on one level. Teak on the floor up here is all good, as you would expect being undercover. And from halfway down the stairs, general overview of the cockpit. I'm now sitting down in the utility room at the front edge of the cockpit, and while trying to hold this camera, we'll attempt to go down the last bit of the ladder. This is the access door to the engine room. To the right of it is the solar controller. There's 760 watts of solar on the roof, plus the Raby controller tank in the outside, and below me to the right is the Kohler genset. Engine hours, you may or may not be able to read on the picture, is 500.8 on the genset. Sticking camera into the engine room, we probably aren't going to see a lot with limited light. Rear of the engines is pumps and sea strainers. Through hull fittings and gate valves all look new. There's a bit of green verdigris on the strainers themselves. Shafts are bright, and the engines, if I can get you far enough in to have a, they're pretty dark in here, but they're 480 Volvos. Engine room's pretty tidy. It would be fair to say that the engine mounts could do with a clean, but exhaust hoses and engines generally are pretty tidy. There's an inner drive charger fitted in the corner. Due to the lack of light, I've gone back into the engine room and opened up the hatch over the port engine. This gives you an indication of the state of cleanliness and presentation, which is pretty good.